Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today is the third installment of the Dollar Tree Junk Journal Challenge 2019 that I am hosting here on my channel. If you would like to know all the requirements for this, go ahead and go over to the first original video that I did for this. I am doing a giveaway for it, and the deadline is the last day of September, and you can post challenge videos or Instagram posts to be included in the giveaway, but all the requirements are over there for this. For this installment today, I wanted to show you how I select my pages and put my signatures together. So first off, I wanted to show you the cover that I made, and everything here is Dollar Tree products. Of course, that's what the challenge is about. And if you haven't seen the video, it is $15 or less of supplies from the Dollar Tree that you use in your journal. Your tools are not included in that price, so like your trimmer, your scissors, pencil, things like that, sewing machine, and like thread, and that isn't included in the price of the journal. And the journal is for yourself. You're not sending anything to me. I just wanted to have a fun challenge for you to make a junk journal and get some inspiration from other ladies, and also from me. So I made this cover, and I will link the video down below for how I went through the process. But this is what I am doing for my junk journal challenge, junk journal, and I used a cat folder, one of the 2 packs of folders in the school supply section at the Dollar Tree, and that's what this picture is from. And then these pieces here are from that folder, and of course I have the star of the show right here trying to help me. And the book was a book from the Dollar Tree. It was a cream colored book, so that's why I picked that. I thought it went really well. And then I added lace and ribbon for the tie. That they were from the Dollar Tree, of course. And then I added a cat collar on the bottom. And these pieces here are wrapping paper, and these are pieces from the folder. So that is my cover all ready to go. I wanted to put together my pages today and show you the process of how I do that. First, I want to show you the things that I'm using for my pages. I have everything here except for the cat calendar that I bought, and I've misplaced that, so I'm going to have to go pick up another one, but I will have that. You'll see that later in this video. So the things I have for the pages, I have this manuscript tablet, some lined paper, drawing paper that's just plain white. I have some doilies. I have some note cards, and these will be to make like pockets and things on the pages. And then I have, of course, the book pages that came out of the cover. So I have all these things along with that calendar, which I need to go pick up. I will have these are all the things I'm going to use for my journal. The first thing I'm going to do is take a few of the pieces here, the white paper, the lined paper, and the doilies, and some of the book pages. I'm going to go over and dye them, and I purchased this sugar-free Hawaiian Punch from the Dollar Tree to dye my pages because I wanted them to be like a light blue to go along with the book. I also may dye some with coffee, and the coffee I like to use is the instant coffee from the Dollar Tree. That works great, or you can use the tea bags from the Dollar Tree. Both of them work well. So that's what I'm going to do now, is go and dye my papers. And the process is really simple with this. You just add a packet to some water, 1 or 2 packets depending on the coloring that you want, the darkness. And I just put that into a shallow like cake pan, a glass pan that I have, or you could use a metal pan, and then lay the papers in to soak and let them sit in there for however long you want to before it, whatever color or darkness that you want on your paper. And then you just pull them out, let them drip dry, and lay them out onto some plastic, or you can put them on a cookie sheet and stick them in the oven. If you put the oven like at 125, then you put your sheets in the oven for probably like 8 to 10 minutes or I'm not sure. I haven't done it that way. I've done it once that way, and I just haven't done it enough to tell you exactly the temperature and the amount of time you need to leave your papers in the oven. But that's what I'm going to go do. Pretty simple. And then I will be back here and we will start putting together the pages. All right, my papers are all dyed and I think they turned out really beautiful. So this is just an easy technique and very cost effective. So now I'm going to use the manuscript tablet and tear out 4 sheets of this paper and go ahead and fold them in half. I trimmed them a little bit to even out the edges, and now I'm just going to fold them in half, and these will be a great page addition to the book. And I just think it gives it an old school look. I'm not even sure if they actually use this paper in elementary schools anymore. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you know that. I picked up another one of those cat calendars, so now I'm going to go into the calendar and look at what I have and pick some pages out. I'll just start tearing the pages and then cut them down. With these, since it has the calendar on the back, I'm using these for my signature cover pages. So I will pick 2 to go together and have the picture spacing out. So then I will sew those 2 together and have them be pockets along the edges, and both sides will have a picture and not be just that plain calendar part. So now I'm just measuring to see how big I need to make, how much I have to trim off. The width is actually perfect for this book, so I just had to trim off the top and the bottom, and I think I decided to trim these down to 9 1/4. The book is actually 9 1/2, but I wanted the pages to be a little bit smaller than that. And I'm just showing you that piece I cut off, I can use that later. Each of the pages has a tiny little picture at the bottom on the calendar side, so if I didn't cut that up in this process and it was left over, then I saved them. I try to use almost as much of the calendar and all these pieces that I picked up in my journal some way. I decided I was going to have 3 signatures in my book, but they would be small signatures because I don't want the book to get too, way over chunky. Usually my books are really chunky, and I love a chunky book. But I was trying to restrain, but this still will be an awesome book. I can't wait for the outcome of it. And these pictures are just adorable, and I love the pictures with the 2 cats, so that when it's folded you can actually see one full cat on that side of the paper. And then if there were other ones, you'll see as we go along here that I use some other ones for the center of the book. That way you could see the whole picture. Save that section at the top there that says I love kittens, because I use that as a belly band. So every little piece that you can cut up and keep, like that small one with the calendar, I'm going to make that, I think, either into a tag or a pocket on the page. And then with these small little pictures, I cut one to make a belly band, and then this I used the 4 in a square, and that will be a pocket or a side tuck. And then I cut the last 4 into small individual pictures that I can use as decoration on the different pages. So now I'm just trying to decide if I want to use any more of the pages. For now I didn't, but later I went and added some in. Now I'm taking the gift wrap that I found for this book, and I'm going to cut this down. I was counting out 10 inches there to cut down. I cut it all the way across, and then I ended up making 2 pages to put in my journal. But you have to cut this down so I can actually trim it with my trimmer. So I'm just cutting these in half and then down to a more, a better size for the page. Trimming off all the edges to make them even, and then I'll just fold them in half and put them in my signatures. I opened up the note cards, and I'm going to use a couple of the note cards, well, one of the note cards to make an actual page, and then I will use another one of them to make a pocket in another signature. All these note cards are the same. I kind of wish they had note card packs that had different pictures in them, but they don't. So anyway, I'll use the note card, and then the envelopes I actually use within the book as well. So now I'm just going through and dividing up all my pages into 3 signatures. They're not all equal, so you just kind of distribute them in, just whatever fashion that you'd like. Now I'm going to start with my main cover, the calendar pages, and then just start alternating all the different pages. I folded those book pages in half the vertical way, but if you wanted the words to be the correct position, you could sew 2 of those pages together down the center. It's just up to you what you want to do. Now what I'm doing is I'm using one of my drawing pad papers and matching it up with another page of the calendar, and that calendar page is going to be the center of my signature, and then the white paper that I dyed will be on the other side of it, and I will make that a pocket page. I just think this will be cute in the center of the signature. Then you can see that whole picture with the 2 kittens on it. And then I trim my pages as I go to see, if they lay out right, because the ones in the middle of the signature tend to be longer since they can't all line up against the spine as tight as the first few. So now I'm moving on to my second signature and just kind of doing the same thing, alternating the pages. I try to do it in different orders, so it just makes an interesting journal as you flip through it. For this one, I have one of the smaller doilies, and I'm attaching that to the side of the page, and that can be a little tuck spot there. And I'll use my sewing machine to sew that down. And then I'll just finish up this third one, and then I will start adding in tuck spots, belly bands, pockets, and then ribbon and little ties and things like that on the pages. I decided to fold this one over to make a little tuck spot. Something I want to do in this book at the end when I do my final touches on the book, I do have some paw print and some other cat rubber stamps, and I'll use my ink and just go in and add some details like that, and that is totally fine for this challenge. Any of your supply, like tools that you have, they don't have to be from the Dollar Tree, and it doesn't have to be included in your price because those are things you already have. So anything like that that you want to add details to, it's just your supply, like the paper and ribbon, and you know what I mean. So now I'm going to go in and add the belly bands, pockets, things like that, and I'm using paper clips, and I like to paper clip everything in first and then take it over to my sewing machine to add it all in. And if you don't have a sewing machine, you could totally glue your things in, so, or use a stapler for a ribbon and things like that. I added a little picture there to a belly band and then clip it on to the page. I want to add as much of the cat stuff in along the pages. We'll just add to the theme of the book. This one, I just added the note card there. I'm going to probably sew that down and make a pocket and then have it open up so you can actually look inside the card. I have this scrap, the blue with the dots is all scraps from the folder that the cover was made from, so I saved all that stuff. Now I'm using a book page to make a little envelope. I'm going to trim it down, and then that I will take over to my sewing machine and sew up the sides, and it'll just be a little pocket on the page. And you will see that the next video that I do after this will be sewing my pages on the sewing machine. I'll show you how I do that, and then possibly sewing it into the spine. And then I will have another video after that where I do the finishing touches to the book. And yeah, so now this was a piece that I took apart, that pot holder. If you didn't see my cover video, go watch that, because I took apart a pot holder to have fabric in my book, and so I'm cutting this extra piece down to make a pocket. And then I also have a piece of the trim that was around the pot holder. I have that piece, and I'm going to use that to make a ruffle along one side, and I'll show you that here in a second. See, this piece, that was what was wrapped around the pot holder to trim it off. So when I do ruffles on my sewing machine, I cut my fabric strips or my ribbon to about 1.5 times the height of the book, and then I'll go in with the sewing machine and ruffle it down the page. I'm adding the lace there on that page. Now I'm going to go on to my second signature, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off my ribbons and laces there for each of the signatures. I tried to alternate the lace, the fabric from the pot holder, and the ribbon between the signatures. And then you will also see here in a bit how I used a strip of the wrapping paper to make a ruffle for the end of the page. Here's another piece of that folder. I'm cutting it down to make a pocket or a tuck spot with another little picture of the cat. Now I'm taking another calendar page, cutting the little picture off for that to use here, and then I'm going to cut one of these cat faces out to make a pocket. Trim it down, and then that will be a little pocket on that page. Now this piece was from the folder, and it had a little flap from where it was folded on the folder, so I'm just going to sew that little piece off, and that will be like a little hidden flip out. Now I'm cutting this strip off of the gift wrap, and it's convenient because the gift wrap has that grid on the back. And then I'll just start folding this to make it a ruffle. And then when I take it over to my sewing machine, I'll just sew right down the middle of that piece of paper and sew it to the edge of the page. Now, you could make this without a sewing machine. You just would glue down each of those little creases, and you could put like a piece, well, you could put a piece of ribbon down the center too, and that would look really cute. And now I'm trimming little pieces off to make just little pulls, I guess you'd say, on the page. And I made one of those with the fabric from the pot holder as well. Sorry, I'm a little, there we go. Not in frame. So that's that signature. And I'll go in and finish this signature off. Just pulling apart that edging there. And that will be a side ruffle there. And then I have one more piece of this folder. I'm going to trim it down to make another belly band. This is one of the envelopes, and I will sew that on the edge of the page, and then that will be a flip out that you could tuck something in there. And I have that picture, and I just cut out a square of the fabric to line it, and I'll take that on my sewing machine separate and then glue that little picture down on top of the envelope. I'm making a side pocket, like a little triangle side tuck, and I just took a square and folded it in half with the paper, and then I will sew that onto the page. And if you come back next week for my next installment, when I sew on the pages, you'll see how that works. It ends up being a pocket plus a little flip out. I'm just trying to decide here if I want to use that note card or that, but I decided on the little calendar page because the next page was the note card. I didn't want to use that twice. So I'm going to cut out another piece of one of the other calendar pages and make another little pocket with the cat. This will probably be a side pocket. And I'll have another little tab that I added in there, and then add a little side of lace to that page. That had a little flap as well, so I'm going to sew that flap on, and then that whole thing will be able to flip out. So save all your scraps, because that's the thing with this. You use as much as you can of what you have, and it'll just tie the whole book together if you use everything throughout the whole journal. I love this challenge because it just has you think and be creative with what you have. Especially when you're limited to just Dollar Tree or dollar store products. Here's another little cat picture. I'm going to put that on that envelope. All right, so here are my 3 signatures. They're all ready and pieced together, and time for me to go over to my sewing machine. And that will be in the next video in this series of my Dollar Tree Junk Journal Challenge 2019. So come back next time and you'll see how I sew these on the sewing machine and then possibly finish it up by sewing it into the cover of the book. If you want to see my first video that explains the challenge and all the requirements, go to that link, and then I will also have the link again for when I made my cover here. So looking forward to finishing this book up because I think it's going to be really great. This, of course, is going to be the prize to my challenge, so hopefully you will be able to participate in this challenge. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.